So I'm going to show you how to pack. We will discuss later during the course of why we do things in a certain way, but at the moment I'm just going to show you and you're going to copy. The first thing you want to do is to make sure you have the right pilot chute. So here we're doing a slider down pack job and we want to have a 42. This is my 42. And then you're going to lock the slider down that way. So on your front riser you have this element that helps you to attach your slider down. It's just like a skydive pack job. The first thing you need to do is set your brakes. On the base canopy we have different brake settings. That goes from shallow to deep. So usually you have 2, I have 3 because I have custom brake settings. For slider down we're gonna go to the deeper. This way and this way. You can see some people for slider down pack job that have the lines outside of the ring. There is a reason for that. We have 2 methods. I decide to use the method with the lines inside the ring. I will explain you why during the course. So you can set them just like on skydive pack job. You already know how to do that. Okay. And now let's start. Up. The canopy, give it a little shake. Just like a skydive pack job, we're gonna start. Grab the nose of the canopy with the sails. In skydiving you have 9 sails, here we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you shake it a little bit, it makes it cleaner. You can already see the separation of the groups here. Put the sails between your legs and start cleaning the inside. So normally this is something you already know how to do. Clean 1, 2, and 3. So the cleaner you do it now, the easier it's going to be to pack later. But what we are doing now on the shoulder, we're going to do it again on the ground way cleaner. So you don't need to spend too much time on that. If you mess it up a little bit, it's not really important, because before finishing the pack job we're going to make sure it's really clean. What you're doing here is just facilitating the work you're going to be doing on the ground. So you clean your 3 groups and then that's the tail of your canopy, like this. So here it's already clean. Bien, par ici, Vincent. And you put your 3 cells on each side. 1, 2, 3 cells on one side. 1, 2, 3 cells on the other side, and the center cell open. So for the slider down pack job, we're going to keep the slider on the bottom, and to make it look clean, the better is to have it between the risers, that way. So during all the pack job we want to keep tension and symmetry. This is the most important. So we're going to be working with the alignment of the riser right there, and we're going to clean the canopy side by side. First this half, you're going to find your 3 cells. 1, 2, 3. As you can see on your cells you have some stitching. This is the base you're going to be working on. You want that stitching to be aligned with your risers. You're going to put your foot here and that's going to be your base. So every time we're going to grab something on the canopy, we're going to align it with this, and this is going to be aligned with the riser. On each side we have 3 groups of 3 tabs. Those are your tabs. So first group, 1, 2, 3. Wrap them together. Clean on the inside. You can give it a little shake. You clean on the inside and you put it on top of the stitching, which is your base. Put your foot here and come clean here on the inside. Okay. So for the following, you're gonna grab the 3 next tabs. They're here, 2, 3. Clean on the inside. Put it on your base. Put your knee and clean here. Tu veux voir de ce côté, Vincent? Pour qu'on voit le truc. Hop. We're gonna show with the camera how you clean. Just pass your hand through that. One, 2, 3. Up. Clean it. Align the tabs on the over. So this third one is not really symmetric, and it's totally normal because the canopy is not fully symmetric. It's not completely square. And on this one you don't need to clean the inside, we're gonna do it later. Then you have your stabilizer. It also has a stitching which you're gonna be aligning also with the rest. Keep in mind that it's important to keep all aligned here together and align with the riser. And here you're gonna flick the tail of your canopy. So those are your control panels. You're gonna align every one of them on the same base. One, this one, then you go to the next one. So you have one that doesn't have a line attached to it, but you're still gonna align the stitching to the rest. And you do this until you reach your tail pockets. So we have this side clean, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Grab the whole side, put it on top of the over, find your 3 cells. 1, 2, 3. You have the stitching that you align with your riser. That makes your base. You find your first 3 tabs. 1, 2, 3. Clean the inside here. And clean the inside here. Boom. Grab your second group of 3 tabs. Clean the inside. Lock with your knee. And lock the inside. And the same with your last one. You're right to your stabilizer, use your stitching as a reference, and then clean the tail of your canopy, all your control panels on top of each other. And you do that until you reach the tail pockets. Okay, so at this point of the pack job, your pack job has spread out a little bit. You have people that like to attach a clamp to the lines, or sometimes a pull-up cord, because they want to keep the pack job all together. I don't really like having tools and stuff messing up my pack job because I'm scared to forget them. I think the less tools you have, the less mistake you can do. What is possible to do is then to realign your pack job together. So you can grab, tu vois de loin là?
Oh ouais, je vois tout.
You can grab the whole group like this and bring it to the center. As long as you grab the whole pack job, you're not gonna mess it up, and you can move it just how you like to the center, and you can do the same on the other side. So then everything now is a bit more centered. So now we have cleaned everything, but we can do even better. we want to be sure that the inside is really clean. So open here. If you look at it that way, it looks really messy, but I'm going to show you the magic trick, which is pulling on your bridle, and then come here. You're gonna go from your bridle and put the stitching at the center, like this. And look, it has a magic effect here. It's pulling all the extra fabric together. All you need to do now is this, and it's already way more clear. So to clean better the inside, we're gonna put our groups together. On each side you have 4 groups of 4 lines. So we start from the top of the canopy. We have our our first group, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. These ones have to be together, and you have a central stitching. Make a sort of sausage with it and clean the inside up. So then you grab your second group, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. That's the same. You make it in a sausage shape and keep it together. Clean the inside. We have another group of 4. Keep it together and clean. So we have this side really clean with our 4 groups of 4 lines all together. We're gonna do the same on the other side. One, 2, 3, 4 lines. That's the first group. Grab it together. Clean the inside. Grab the second group. So usually, to not mess it up, you can keep them all in one hand. See, here I have my first group, and I put my second group directly in the same hand, and the other hand is there just to clean. My third group is already well put together, so I can grab it, put it in one hand and clean the inside. Up. So on each side we have our 4 groups of 4 lines, perfectly clean and perfectly aligned. You can check here the symmetry. You can see that they're really like facing each other. So we have tension in the lines, we have clean groups, and we have symmetry. So far so good. We messed a little bit the control panel, so we're gonna put them back. Up. Back to the tail pocket. This is clean. Same on the other side. Good. Now we're gonna put an element, probably the most important of the slide-on pack job is your tailgate. So you're gonna start from the bottom. You're gonna grab your red lines all together, go up. This is a good moment to check the symmetry. These ones are facing each other perfectly, so we know we have a symmetrical pack job. And here you go with your tailgate. So it's attached to this line. You want to put it that way. When you put your tailgate, don't put it that way, because then it's going to pull on your line and it's going to damage it. So always make sure it's facing that way, all around the red lines, and 2 wraps with your rubber band, 1 and 2. It's important that the tailgate is tight enough. It's also important to start from the bottom and not put your tailgate, pull your red lines directly together, because you have the possibility to put them around the white lines and not realize it. So here we have our tailgate clean, and we're gonna bring the tail pocket to the bottom of the canopy. Up. like to make another check at this moment. The symmetry, the tailgate is put. So now we're gonna store the lines in the tail pocket. First, we're gonna do what we call the primary store. So to make the primary store, you grab your line like this, use your finger up, and make a buckle. Make something that is a bit wide like your hand, more or less. Then you're gonna take your rubber band and you're gonna make a double wrap. One wrap and two wraps. The primary store goes in his little pocket. And now we're gonna start stowing the line. So that's something I would like to do really clean. I do what I call the Maya pyramid, because the Mayas had pyramids with stairs, and it's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with big buckles, doing 8 figures, and we're gonna do them progressively smaller. And on top of each other to make some stairs. So this, you can pull like this, lock with your finger to make sure it doesn't move. Like this. You can use your thumbs to lock everything. And you go until the end. Boom. So here we can see that we have our 8 figures that are getting progressively smaller and are in a stair shape. So it's really clean. We can see exactly that they're perfectly aligned. And we're gonna close the tail pocket starting from the front. Up. Make sure you don't grab a line in the Velcro. And then we're gonna make the side as well. Okay. Now we have to fit that big canopy inside that small bag. So we're gonna reduce the size of it, and this is when you're gonna be using your clamps. We're gonna fold each side on top of the canopy. So there is different possibilities. You have people who like to roll it, some people that do one on top of each other, and I like to do 2 wraps. So grab them like this. It's approximately the size of my hands. I do 1. And I bring the second one to the central stitching. One clamp here, one here, so they're held together, and you leave your 3 cells hanging there. We're gonna clean these ones after. Do the same on the other side. 1. And then a second fold, and secure it with the clamps. 1, 2. As you can see here, the stitchings are aligned, so we're symmetrical. Okay. So before putting the canopy in the container, this is when I like to do one last check, because I have the visual on my brake settings, on my slider, and on my pilot chute. So here, before putting in the container, I check that I have the correct brake settings for slider and back job, which is deep brake settings. I can see it. This matches the position of my slider, which is the slider down. And I have the pilot chute that is adapted to the position of my slider. It's my 42, so I know everything here is correct, and I can bring my canopy into the container. At this moment, it's really important to be careful, because you don't want to be pulling some lines out with your fingers. You don't want to mess up the clean back job you've done before. So you're gonna grab it, you're gonna put your hand flat under, Make sure you have all the lines in your hand and lock it here with your thumb and have a firm grip, okay? And you're gonna bring it all the way back to the bottom of your container. Boom. Tu peux passer de ce côté. Then you're gonna be putting your toggles on the right position, toggles and risers. So they're like this. So it's important to put the toggles on the side and not like this, because if you put them in that position, they're gonna get flat, and if you need to have a quick reaction and grab them quickly, it's really hard to grab a flat toggle. So you want it to keep its shape. So you put it on the side. I'm gonna do exactly the same on the other side. Up. Put the risers together on top of each other. And these to the side. Okay, so this is clean. We're gonna do our first fold, which is gonna be on the top of the container. It can be different according to the container, so you can watch the manual of the manufacturer, but here on the Zach 3, the first fold is gonna be at the top of the container. Up. And we're gonna put our cells properly. So remember, we have 7 cells. I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3 on one side. I like to make a sort of S fold here. You can secure it with the clamp. That's your center cell. Let's leave it here for the moment. 1, 2, 3 cells on the other side. Make the same S fold. Lock it. And then your center cell, and this one you want it wide open because it's gonna take the air and make your canopy open nicely. And now we're gonna make our second fold, which is the bottom of your container, like this. They take a pull-up cord. Now, of course, you need to have a pull-up cord with you, which I forgot. So you ask to a friend, Bam Bam, can I have a pull-up cord?
Oui.
Oh, merci, Bam Bam. Thank you very much. And you make sure your friend didn't make a tight knot with it. Ah, it's good. I'm strong enough. At least insult me in Norwegian. It's Norway here.
I have no idea.
Okay, so we're gonna close the container. Up. We're gonna start from the top. The loop here, and we can remove the clamps. We don't need them anymore. The pack job is secure. Up. So the containers maybe have a different way of closing. Maybe sometimes you start from the right, sometimes you start from the left, sorry. So you have to see on the specification on your manual. But so here I have one where you start from the top, go to the left and then the right. Even without the manual, it's pretty easy to figure it out, not rocket science. And you're gonna put your loop that way. Your bridle is coming out from the middle of the grommets, not from the top, not from the bottom, but the middle. You're gonna put your first pin in and remove that. Then you're gonna make the bottom of the container, so you have the dynamic corners. The dynamic corners have to be put up and not here to the side, okay? So you do it before closing. Up. One corner is here, the other one like this, and now we're gonna close the bottom. Up, left, and right. and the second pin in. Up. So it's important that the container is closed correctly. Always make sure your bridle comes out from the middle, goes to the top pin and then the bottom pin. Up, you put the extra in the middle and your container is closed. Now you realize that it has this ugly shape, so it's really easy to make it nice. Shake it, shake it, shake it, and lay down on it. This is how you get a nice container. Now it's all beautifully shaped. You can put your risers correctly here, and our container is closed. The last step is the pilot chute. Here we go. So when I pack the pilot chute, I like to have everything here under, because some people have mistakenly put the bridle through their leg strap, which has led to fatal accidents. We don't want that, so we want everything to be clean. We're gonna close that. So the bridle is gonna go like this. I like to do this first, so I know which length of bridle I will need to put the pilot chute in the BOC. And I'm gonna bring it up. Here we're gonna do what I call the mushroom burrito. First you do a mushroom. You have your mesh. Bring the bottom here to the top. So that's your mushroom. And then you put your bridle up. So you just keep the length to put in the BOC. And that's when we do the burrito. Up, put the mesh around the bridle. Nice and clean, keeping all together. And then we wrap the burrito. Wrap and roll. I like to have the pilot chute really clean, because this is what you're gonna be grabbing when you pull, and you want to have something that is comfortable and firm to grip. And see, we kept exactly the good size for the BOC. So normally it should be quite easy to put in. Boom. Here you go, your anti-gravity device is ready to jump. Yeah, bah.